that's how you can buy hosta roots. So they come in a package, and I was particularly looking at the hostas which are rather big and massive in a way. They're like up to 60, 100 centimeters high, and these are the roots. And I will plant them here in the corner where they can barely see any sunshine. These ones, they still receive the sunshine, but only for half of the day. Then this is our flower bed in the front yard, and I'm going to plant lilies here, the ones that I shared in the previous video, the ones that I love, trumpet lilies. They're here, and they're going to be of different varieties. We have planted trumpet lilies here already, two variants, and I'm going to prolong the patch, and I think it's going to be like really beautiful because they're very high. But here in the front I'm going to plant daylily. I have never planted daylilies before, and I didn't have them in my garden, so I'm particularly interested in how they are going to be different from just normal lilies, usual lilies that I'm used to planting. So I'm going to do that. And this year I'm trying out the bone flower because there is a lot of conversation around the bone flower, and I bought it, and I'm going to add just a little bit, a touch of bone flower when planting all of these lilies and see the results. But the soil here is actually a lot better than in the backyard. But in any case, I'm really willing to get gorgeous lilies, so I'm like giving them extra support and extra nutrients. I started the new experiment of mine, though I can't call it an experiment because everyone seems to be doing that pretty well, is growing lilies from the flakes that are taken from the bulb. So I didn't realize that I could get actually the roots. So basically that's how it looks like, and all of them gave roots, yeah, like that. So I'm going to plant them here and then move to a place that they're just going to be there permanent. And these are trumpet lilies, again the same varieties that I planted several hours ago here, and I'm going to plant the flakes. Look at this beautiful patch of iris. It looks so nice, especially during early spring when it's like juicy and nice leaves are just sprouting. So I'm going to plant another varieties that I bought. These are mostly of purple varieties. Here there is a bit of yellowish, which is also rather beautiful. And here we have a mixture of different varieties that I'm going to show afterwards when it's going to bloom. But basically, we created this entire patch from a couple of bushes that just grew lots of seedlings. So I'm going to plant the new varieties right now and patiently waiting for them to give the first blossom and to make it even more colorful and just stand out. I'm going to plant 2 different varieties of phlox. We have never had these plants before. It was a very big raven. So we've never had these plants before, and I'm pretty excited of what will happen with them because they seem rather interesting for me as the plants. And I'm going to do this. And again, while planting, I'm using bone flower. So the phlox grew enormous roots because I think that I was keeping it on my windowsill for a month approximately. And obviously it wasn't feeling all right because like the size of the pot is small. So I hope it will like it in here. These are the seedlings of helenium, which are of supposedly red shades, which are very rare here. And I planted them from seeds, and they grew into this huge, enormously beautiful plants. And I really just love the way they look. And I hope that they are going to be of red shades, because we have two helenium plants there by the polytunnel in here, which are of yellow shades, and yellow varieties are very common here. But I was pretty excited to get these ones. So I'm going to plant like approximately three seedlings into one place, so that to have a very big bush and really nice blossom. And I'm actually very interested to see the root system. I think that it's going to be pretty extensive by the way it looks. Yeah, so the root system is very nice. These days are really nice. It's hot outside, plus 20 degrees Celsius, but the nights are still very cold. So today, and that is the end of April, the 29th of April to be exact, I'm going to plant the tomatoes into the polytunnel, and I've brought them all here. So I'm pretty curious about the temperature of the soil in order to understand what we're dealing with. And yeah, I've got a lot of different tomatoes to be honest with you. I thought that I'm going to again plant a couple of varieties and be satisfied with it, but as usual I buy lots of varieties to taste and to try. Okay, so I'm going to put it into the soil. Yeah, so it will take like a couple of minutes to figure out the difference in the temperature, but usually the soil is going to be colder than the air, the temperature of the air, but I'm curious about the difference. All right, I think 5 minutes have passed. I'm going to check the temperature, but I've opened the doors to the polytunnel so that to make the temperature more or less suitable for the plants. So the temperature of the air is 28 degrees Celsius. I hope you can see that, which is, I think, okay. I think that closer to the noon is going to be more than 30 degrees. And the soil is 14, which I can't say like a very comfortable temperature. Yeah, it started rising the moment when I took it out of the soil, which I don't think a very like comfortable temperature for the plants, but I think it will be okay for the tomatoes, but definitely not okay for eggplants, peppers, cucumbers, of course. But I know that the tomatoes are going to survive because there is a row of tomatoes that my mum planted. They are for earlier crop and they are feeling okay. They even started growing more, and I think that tomatoes feel okay with this kind of temperature. What you can see in the polytunnel right now is actually a bit of renovation that happened because we've finished with the nets. So the red tea rows that have the nets because the mole loves our polytunnel, but we didn't put the net here because I didn't see the mole appearing here. But usually these two patches are also occupied by the mole that digs a lot of holes and damages the roots of the plants. So these are the tomatoes prepared and ready to be planted, and those are the tomatoes that my mom planted earlier, probably a week ago, and I can definitely agree that they feel a lot better right now. And this kind of like strange construction is actually the experiment of ours that we made, and we put, oh, what a huge spider. And we planted cucumbers for earlier crop, and there's the cucumber with actually the Colorado beetle who's very hungry right now. But we planted 4 sacks. We put 4 cucumbers into 4 sacks, and 3 of them got bitten by the frost, and that is the only one surviving. And I'm praying for this cucumber because I really want an earlier crop. Here we've got a patch of greenery, and I'm so delighted to eat salad at the moment, which is something that I really missed during winter. So here we've got spinach. That's the first time I'm trying spinach, and you know what? I love it. I'm curious of trying to bake different things with it too, and it's so nice and juicy. Onion also for salad, and radish, which we ate just already a tiny patch of it, and yeah, it's a very nice one. Just look at this gorgeous beauty. I was like passing by, never noticed any, and just paid attention to how colourful it is. The colours are so bright. when there is a lot of sunshine, they are getting more and more colourful. It's really adorable. It's plus 33 degrees Celsius now. As I said, it's going to get hotter and hotter here. Actually, when I'm planting, I never remove the leaves, even though they may seem damaged, because tomatoes really need those leaves during the first month of their life before they start producing the first vegetables, the first fruits. And I'm doing that really carefully. And if the tomato in itself is really big, I still cover the leaves with the soil, but I do not remove them. That's something that I learned from one of the gardeners who conducted some experiments with removing the leaves and leaving them as they are, leave them be, even under, like, covered a little bit with the soil. And the result is that if you remove the leaves, you are going to get the first bunch of tomatoes later, because the plant needs to grow those leaves that you removed back. So I do not do that at all right now, and just covering them and leaving them as they are, because they're going to serve this tomato for a while. And usually I lay the tomato down and carefully cover it with the layer of soil, and try not to leave lots of space, because my polytunnel is not high. So what I need to do is to try and have the first leaves closer to the ground as possible, because the first bunch of tomatoes is going to be after the 7th or the 8th leaf. And still I need a bit more space for the tomatoes to grow, and that's what I'm doing. Before that, I never actually took care of this, so I was planting the tomatoes and that's it. But then when I started seeing that usually I get the first bunch of tomatoes like somewhere here, I realized that it's ridiculous, because I don't have lots of space in the polytunnel left. So I started lowering down the tomatoes at the very beginning, when just in the period of planting, and the first bunch is close to the ground, closer to the soil, something that definitely I need. So here I'd like to show you what I was telling about not removing the leaves of the tomato plants when planting them. These 4 tomatoes are the tomatoes that my mum planted earlier. These ones I planted only like 3-4 days ago. And I asked her not to remove the leaves. So she left the leaf, and it's like very, very close, extremely close to the ground. And there are even shoots right now, so I'm removing the shoots too. And usually the first blossom appears after the 7th leaf. Today I noticed the first bunch, the first blossom, and let's count the leaves. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then we have 6 here and 7th here, and that is the blossom. if my mom removed at least like 2 leaves, the plant would have to grow 2 more in order to give the first blossom. So that is the logic here. So I leave all of the leaves for the tomato plant in order for the first blossom to appear. And the same will happen with this one soon. I think soon enough this one, it's like even very easy to understand. You can just count the leaves and then you will see when the first blossom appears. But this one is one of the first to give the first blossom. So, and the same I was doing with these tomatoes when I was planting them, and it means that all of them will give the first blossom soon enough because all of the leaves are healthy and there are lots of them, and most of them are going to give the first bunch after the 7th leaf. Some of them can give earlier, like after the 6th, but these ones can give the first blossom after even the 4th and the 5th leaf. That's why they're so small here. And I'm also waiting for the blossom to appear too. And these ones are also the ones that my mom planted earlier. Today I'm going to plant the aubergines into the polytunnel, and at the moment they look like this. Obviously a little bit stressed out because they are not used to such hot temperature as in the polytunnel right now. And 2 days ago I planted peppers and I measured the temperature of the soil, which was approximately 20 degrees Celsius, which is a very good thing for the peppers. These days are actually really lovely. It's plus 21, 22 degrees Celsius outside, but there is still some scare of hard frost returning back, and the next week is going to be colder than this one. That's why when that week comes, I'm going to cover this patch with aubergines and peppers additionally. But the peppers, they are so vigorous at the moment, and they really loved the space. They really love the temperature of the soil. I hope that the aubergines are going to do the same. Again, I'm using the same technique as with the peppers and the tomatoes. I put ash into the pit where I'm going to put the pepper, and also I'm going to use the tobacco dust because I can see that even with the peppers, some of the leaves are damaged. It means that something is eating on the leaves of peppers. So I kind of like puff everything with the tobacco dust. Especially I'm worried about like the cucumber that is in there, the peppers, and of course the aubergines, because especially aubergines in the polytunnel are very attractive to the spider mite, which is gradually appearing at the moment. So I'm going to protect the plants. And so I finished planting the aubergines, and I organized some kind of the cover. Like I didn't have anything else at hand, so I took just a cardboard and I put a little bit in order to protect from the sunshine, which is really, really burning right now. Of course, it's better to plant them, I think, closer to the evening, because I did the same with the peppers, and the peppers are feeling okay. But I just wanted to plant them in the morning. Some of them obviously cheered up a little bit after I watered them and after I put the cover, but some of them are still like struggling. But I feel like everything is going to be completely fine. But of course, when you plant anything, it's really important for the plants not to stress out and just like, to feel the most comfortable way, like as if they don't even notice that they have been planted to another place. that's it for the works in the polytunnel because it's getting hotter here. Well, it's just 6 a.m. in the morning and look at that. At the moment it's -3 degrees Celsius and I don't know, everything looks so dramatic. The sun is up, but it's still really cold. And look at everything. I think that's the worst nightmare for a gardener, to see everything like this. The grass is really crispy at the moment. Basically, my garden is like a white blanket. I mean, like, it covered literally everything. I don't know. Look at honeysuckle. Poor thing. Last year, the walnut actually was pretty damaged. And I really want to see if it's okay this year. If -3 is okay for the walnut. I think it survived. Yeah, it seems like it survived because last year all of the leaves were black. Let's have a look here. The apples are still in blossom, the apple trees. Look at it. I even covered one of the trees that have fruits on it. Just have a look. Crazy. I hope that everything will come back to life magically, but that is the hard frost everyone was telling about when we had the week of like more than +20 degrees Celsius, and everyone was expecting this, and me too, honestly speaking. But you can't stop the nature. If everything is growing, you can't just stop it. Look at what is going on in the polytunnel. And the temperature of the air is +4. And also I measured the temperature of the soil, which is +12, almost +13. And that's a good thing. I mean, like, the soil is more important, because I covered literally everything here. And I hope it will be okay, but that's really dramatic. And those plants that were not covered, like these tomatoes, they're nice, even though the temperature is very low here. And they aren't even frozen or anything. And they are about to bloom.